This is Project Altitude, a project in which I try and get higher and higher altitudes with each rocket launch. In this first part, I will be trying to perfect the rocket design and make sure that I can reliably retrieve the entire rocket. About 2 months ago, I 3D printed my first model rocket. I took the design from Thingiverse, and it was pretty good overall. But there were a few main issues. The first main issue was that there was no launch lug, which caused the rocket to veer off course. The second main issue with this rocket was that it exploded when it was supposed to launch the parachute. The rocket exploding meant that all the pieces were either lost, broken, or melted, which is not great. The third and final issue with this rocket was that all the pieces were very tall, which meant it was very difficult to print. And this resulted in very high amounts of failed prints. So I want to improve this design, but to do so, we need to follow 3 pieces of criteria. Number 1, it has to have a launch lug. We can't have it flying off course. Number 2, we need it to not blow up when the ejection charge for the parachute is shot off. And then number 3, we need to have it easy to print. So right here in Tinkercad, I've designed a new model. Here you can see we have two different tubes on each side, one to be a launch lug, and then the other to carry a string that will hold all of the pieces together in the event that it does explode. At the bottom, we have all of our 4 fins to make it fly straight, and then the top we have our aerodynamic nose cone, and then the inside is obviously hollow for enough room for the rocket engine. So let's print it. I finished printing it and put all the hardware into it, so it was ready to launch. I took it out to the field, but it was a very cloudy day, so the video quality is not that good. I launched that model, and it didn't go great. The top section of the launch lug was not in line with the rest. Therefore, the rocket curved, or at least I think. And then once the ejection charge was pushed out, it cracked part of the rocket in half, and then also cracked another piece in the middle of one of the sections, which was surprising to me. And the nose cone was shot off some direction that I can't find. So overall, it didn't go great, but it still launched, so that's a plus. Okay, so now I'm going to print it again, and hopefully I can solve some of those issues that I ran into, and maybe add a few things too. So I finished printing all the pieces that I needed to build the next rocket, but I thought of something else that I could do to help support the structure between the pieces. I designed this in Tinkercad. What it does is it holds the rocket together and makes sure that it doesn't break. I printed 3 of these and tried them on the rocket to make sure that they work. Okay, so good news, it fits. They fit quite well. I printed the top one at a different height just to see which one seemed to work better, but I think I'll print the rest at this smaller size. The rocket's finished, now all we need to do is put the hardware inside. Okay, so we ran into a little problem. The nose cone broke off, and this little seam here, it's very difficult to pull it out. So I'm going to try and ply it out with something else, but I'm not sure if it'll work. So we'll have to see how we can get this out. So as I was trying to pry this piece out right here, this snapped. So I should be able to get the top piece off, and then we can just put it into here, and that should be enough room for our parachute and the rocket. So we did get this piece out of here, finally, but I think what I'm going to do before I put it back into this side of the rocket, I'm going to sand it down a little bit, which should help it get smaller, and then it'll be able to come in and out easier. So the main issue with this nose cone is that when it prints, you can see that there's not a solid bottom, so it's always kind of like cubicle almost on the inside. So whenever you try and glue it to this, these little cubicle pieces just kind of rip off. So I'm going to try and glue it on the outside, so hopefully that'll help. Now that we have the nose cone figured out, we can add the internals of the rocket, such as the rocket engine, the parachute, and also the wadding. So the rocket is now fully filled with all the components. We have the rocket engine, in the middle there's the wadding, and then the parachute, and then the nose cone on top. So we should be ready to add our igniters, and then we'll be ready to go. So, what went wrong? Well, I'm not quite sure yet, but I have a few theories that I will talk about in the next episode. But for now, thanks for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.